Is we've now got to reconsider all of those underutilized and forgotten crops that we've ignored for so long. And we've got to look at those as potential crops of the future because many of them are climate resilient. Growing a wider range of crops sounds a great idea. At the end of the day, if we could just diversify the species we grow, but which species should we grow? Which crops should we grow? We actually need a trusted knowledge system that gives us an evidence base on which crops are suitable at any location, what their production would be, what their yield, what their potential nutritional content, and what their markets would be. So essentially, we really need an evidence base to decide which are the suitable crops under different conditions, under future climates. CFF has developed CropBASE as a global knowledge system for underutilized and forgotten crops, and it allows us to provide a trusted evidence base from genetics through to markers across the whole research value chain for, at the moment, over 2,000 crops. SelectCrop is an application that includes a geospatial mapping tool so that at any location you could identify the potential yield of underutilized crops compared to the mainstream crops, and indeed what the potential yield would be under different climate scenarios. Once we've used SelectCrop to identify the potential yield of any location, we can then use ASSESSCROP to identify what its nutritional properties are. So once we've got the ingredients, we can say, okay, what's the nutritional content? What are the composition analysis? What the functionality? What products can we make from it? So that we can then identify what the economic and nutritional value of the products will be from the crop that we've identified through SelectCrop. The purpose of ASSESSCROP is to provide a scientific basis from which we can actually make decisions about the products we can make, not just from underutilized crops, but in combination with ingredients from other crops. Or we can rediscover the forgotten foods, the foods of our ancestors, or we can design new foods, novel foods, that we can include ingredients from underutilized crops. That allows us then to make comparisons and identify what the nutritional, economic, and clearly what the consumer preferences are for different forgotten foods. This is really urgent, because what we see is generational loss of knowledge on underutilized crops. And each time a generation passes, we lose a whole library of information. Our job now is to make CropBASE a resource in which we can collect and put all of that information and make it available to everybody as a global public good. That's why we want everyone to contribute, and it becomes our CropBASE, everybody's CropBASE, that they can actually contribute their knowledge, the experience, the recipes, all of the things that we've actually got on these crops that we can actually put into this global knowledge system from which we can make decisions.
An implementation of CropBASE is available at cropbase.co.uk. There you can find a link to the global knowledge base. This is the open access front end of the knowledge base and will always be free for the public. To start, click on the records. There you can find the taxonomic records of more than 2,700 crops. Most agricultural species, including some varieties and land races, are listed here. Here you can select and export data. It is also possible to compare and print the selected data points. The data table can be organized for better viewing. You can create a snapshot of data in many ways. For example, here you can add labels based on a specific column, just as you do in spreadsheet softwares like Excel and Google Sheets. Click on Labels again to remove any predefined labels. It is also possible to create a snapshot of data with the filtering function. Many filters based on column names can be created here. For example, here we apply a filter based on names to create a snapshot for all crops and varieties or land races that contain the word faba. After selecting the crop, you can click on the plus sign to see the value chain data for that crop. The system will fetch all related data and will show them underneath the selected crop in tabs. Click on Full View to see all the data in one place. Information about the relatives of the crop is shown here, together with their metadata. You can also find out about the crop classification and alternative names of the crop. The Uses and Utilization status provides in-depth data about the variety of uses of the crop and also the status of the crop use in different parts of the world. Some data about the origin and germplasm collection can be found here. The database is also linked to major gene banks that have this crop listed in their repository. The nutrition section lists nutrition information that have been collected from the literature so far. Click on the wheel icon to see the data in a grid or table view. Some data on anti-nutrients and toxicity of the crop is also available in the database. The database houses some data about the seasonal and ecology of crops. This information includes data on optimal climate, soil, altitude, physiology and resilience. Major information on planting and fertilizer requirements is also available in the Planting and Nutrient Application section. Major weeds, pests and diseases are listed here, and more will be provided by linking to other databases. Some information about the cropping systems, potential yield, production and prices in different parts of the world are also available in the database. A metadata is generated for every piece of information that is recorded in the database. The metadata layer includes information about the source, links and citations, and includes an accuracy flag that determines the reliability of the data. Each table in the database can also be accessed separately. For example, here the cropping systems are listed, and we can search for the crop of our choice. The metadata ID links that piece of information to an entry in the metadata layer. The database is designed to house any amount of information about these properties. The live dashboard, that is under development, shows some information about the status of data in the database. Go back to the main page to access the ASSESSCROP database. This database is closed access. However, the viewer username and password is available to access the database. The database administrators are able to create new users and add or delete data on the database. Here you can see all the products and their data that are recorded in the database. The product code distinguishes each product, and it is created based on a standard. Information for each product is viewable by clicking on the plus sign. You can export or print data about each product. It is possible to record many samples for each product. Sample records contain date, physical state, project, and the name of person in charge of sampling. The main underutilized crop ingredient that was used in making the product is shown here. The other ingredients are listed in the ingredients table. All processes are listed in the processing methods section. An unlimited number of images taken during the processing can be stored in the database. The detailed nutrition data for each sample together with details about the analysis method and the contributor name is listed here. Other information about the sample handling during the project, the sample storage location, and any other images taken during the project is shown here.